All right, good morning, guys. It is March 16th down here at first food plot that I cleared. If you've seen my other videos, you know all the work I've done down here. Today has been long awaited. I am going to try to till the soil up a little bit for, I think, the first time the soil's ever been tilled. Sorry, just messing with my camera here a little bit. I bought and assembled this drag tiller attachment. The assembly was tons of fun, but I figured it out with minimal directions that they provided. Just a bunch of steel forks. You can add weight to the plate here, and those wheels pop up so it can drag those forks in the ground. So what I'm going to do is see how it works. My goal is to be able to pull up some of all these roots here that were left behind by the brush that I cut. I think I should be able to pull them out with these forks. My goal and objective, if I can get these roots pulled up, as you can see, they're everywhere, covering the ground here. It's left behind from the brush cutter. If I can get these pulled up, that will absolutely loosen up the soil. And if I can just get that done and then bring a walk behind tiller down here, I'll be thrilled. If I brought a tiller down here now, it would inevitably get balled up pretty quick with all these roots on the wheel. So I'm going to let the drag attachment see what it can do. Tow it behind the quad here, and I'll keep you posted. Wish me luck. All right, after one pass, not bad. Definitely grabbing some roots and pulling them up. As you can see, there's a lot of old stumps and some bigger stuff in there that it's bouncing over, and it may definitely take a while. Unfortunately, my ATV is only two-wheel drive. I'm going to film the dirt here that I just went over. ATV is only two-wheel drive. It's a 500, so it's a powerful machine, but when I first started, I sunk the forks down into the ground with my body weight, and it was on some pretty good roots, so it wouldn't pull. So I had to pull it out and let it just kind of rake over the ground. Just detached it from the quad because it is getting a pretty good clump of roots on the forks here. So I'm going to clean it off, show you what we got. Let's see. So pulled all those roots up. So as I said, this may take a while, but it's always fun riding the quad anyway, so just ride around in circles and keep cleaning it off and see what we can do. So I'll try to get a little footage of me actually pulling it. But first pass, not terrible. I'm fairly happy with it. I wish that the ATV would pull with the forks completely sunken into the ground, but I think if I keep dragging it over the top, it'll get the job done eventually. So hook it back up, clean it off, hook it back up, and get back to it. Alright, so after 5 or 6 passes, realized that I need some weight. The forks were grabbing fairly decent. I actually did pull out a few good size stumps, or big roots, if you will, but a lot of it was kind of just skimming over the top of the ground. So I knew where there was some old cinder blocks back in the woods, so I went and grabbed those and a big rock, threw a bungee on there, and we'll get back at it and see if this makes a difference. Hopefully it doesn't sink it in too much where, as I said, I was having trouble with just the tire spinning on the quad earlier. So we'll see. I'll let you know. All right, it's an update. Been dragging the rake around for about a half hour now. It's doing pretty well. I'm pulling up there's a lot of big roots from the trees in here right under the surface. And it's exposing a lot of them. I got a pretty good pile going over here. It's pulling up a lot of dead old stumps too, which is awesome, because that would be a problem when I do try to get a rototiller down here. There's one of the piles. I have a few piles around the plot. Some of them just been chucking into the woods. It's a little tedious. One thing I've noticed is that the roots get balled up on the bottom, obviously. And you got to stop and lift up the whole thing because it's pretty heavy, and get the roots off and then keep going. Occasionally I get stuck on a big root that I have to stop and back up. Some pretty good sized roots is tearing up there though, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. You might notice there's no weight on it right now, or over here. The weight proved to be a little too much for the quad. The tires were just spinning. Sank the forks too deep into the ground. So, but as I said, my goal was just to work the soil and start to pull up some of these roots. There's still a ton here, but hopefully just disturbing and exposing, tearing up a lot of these root systems, it'll prevent a lot of the regrowth. So one thing that I've decided, I've come to eventual, it took me a little while to pull the trigger on this, but I'm going to cut down all these they're actually wild blueberry bushes. This is a beech tree. I'm going to leave that because I've noticed the ones around my property, a lot of them have rubs on it, so that'd be a good scrape tree in the fall. But these little wild blueberries that I'd originally decided to leave are going to have to go. It's making it I can't navigate through the whole plot. I can't turn the quad on a dime, obviously, and with the sled dragging behind it makes it even tougher. And obviously if I'm hunting over this plot, a lot of potential for breaking up a shot. Dogs are having a blast in the river. So I grabbed the chainsaw. I'm going to cut down a lot of this small stuff. I'm going to see how it does light-wise this year, and I may eventually decide to take down some of these bigger trees if I decide to make this a plot that I want to sustain for years to come. So, but for now I'm going to cut down some of the small stuff, and hopefully that'll let me get to the middle of the plot. You can see there's some areas that I haven't even been able to touch. It's, like I said, now March 16th, and I put this lime down, I think it was February 5th and 5th. So you can see it's starting to dissolve, but a lot of it's still sitting. It was a pelletized lime, still sitting on the surface. So it's definitely working in this lime to the soil, which should help out. So far so good. I'm realizing that to get this plot into a good soil bed to sustain for years to come, it's going to be a lot of work, a lot of frustration, but we'll get there. A lot of larger old dead stumps is tough to see, but like that one there, these ones here, that drag tiller, even a regular tiller isn't going to be able to touch those. Oh, here's one of the retaining clips that I lost right off the bat. That's good. Well, yeah, so I'm going to chainsaw up some of these trees, the little ones, and hopefully I'll open it up a little more, let me navigate through it a little better and get back to it. I'm just going to keep driving around it for a while, keep tearing it up. Every time I go around I get another pile of roots, so eliminate as much as I can. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, just another quick update. Still a lot of roots, but the soil is looking nice. I mean, even if I were to throw seed down now, looks like pretty nice lush soil, so I know I'd get some growth and germination. But my plan, like I said, is just to make it as best as it can be, not to be cliche. But one thing I noticed, it doesn't always seem like it's grabbing a lot because I look around and see a ton of roots, but every couple passes I get, there is no shortage of roots here. I'll show you. Lift this up. That pulls the rakes out of the ground. It allows you to tow it when you want to. But yeah, what I've been doing is I just get all these roots off the forks, free it from the forks, and I can lift the whole thing up, just move it over, and this is what you're left with. So you just keep doing this and keep pulling more and more roots out as I go. It'll be, every pass is a few less roots that are going to be competing for moisture and choking out my food plot, and making the soil bed a little bit better every pass. So you see I've gotten around the perimeter quite a bit. It's looking good. The interior here is a little tougher to get to and swing through on the quad, so I got to work on getting in here a little more. Some areas like this are completely undisturbed. I haven't even been over it once, but it's just going to go slow and steady here through here. And there's a lot of stumps like this. It won't. That's a solid. That's not going to pull that out, obviously. But I will say that that steel rake there takes a lot of abuse. Been bombing around. It's catching on some big stumps and big roots, and it's holding up so far. Hopefully it keeps up. So this is a good example of a nice stump that it pulled out. I mean, there's my foot, size 13, and that's a nice big piece of wood. It would have been a real pain in the neck if it hit the rototiller propeller. So throw that in the pile. Just want to update you, show you exactly what I'm pulling off the ground here, and we're going to keep at it for a little bit. Alright, final update for today. Been down here about 2 hours, maybe a little bit less actually, and got quite a bit done. Great results. The steel rake held up great. It did a lot of damage in the way of breaking up these root systems. So in a good sense, did a lot of damage. As you can see, it exposed a ton of roots, pulled up a lot of old stumps. There's still a lot here, as you can see, but it's worlds better than it was before I started this morning. See the areas around the trees, what the ground looked like prior to me tilling it up. Here's a good example. Just real hard ground. Still frozen a little bit here, but you can see the lime remaining that I put down over a month ago. So I worked that into the soil, absolutely aerated the soil quite a bit, let some rain and stuff get down in there, as well as the lime. Pulled up a ton of roots. Some of them still remaining. I got a lot of work to do, but got quite a bit done. So I'll show you the main pile that I have over here behind the ATV. It's incredible how many roots are down in here. So what I didn't pull out, I'm hoping that I tore them up like I said. Here's the pile. And that's about, top of that pile is about waist high. So show you. A lot of roots right there. I pulled up some really big stuff that I didn't think that it would. Some really big old stumps and root balls. So pretty happy with it, and it held up. I'm now debating whether or not I'm even gonna attempt to till this plot. I really worked the soil pretty good with that thing. So I may do this a couple more times, and put some seed down. Maybe first I'm going to do a soil test, see if I need to put some lime and fertilizer down, but put some seed down, hit it with a drag to get the good seed soil contact, and I think I'm going to have pretty good results down here. And as I think I started to say, the roots that I didn't pull up, I'm hoping that I've ripped up enough of the root systems and disturbed enough that it'll really slow the regeneration of growth. And I'm planning to put clover down here, so if I can get the clover in and get it to flourish, then hopefully it'll choke out a lot of the regrowth of the weeds. And if it doesn't, then I'm going to keep working this plot year after year and hopefully keep improving the soil quality in the soil bed. So stuff that I didn't get to pull up this year, I ripped up a ton of roots, as you can see. So these will hopefully all die and come out next year, the year after. So this is only one of my plots. So I still have the further back one to do, which is equally, if not probably more embedded with the roots. But that's it for me today. I need to give the ATV a break. Puts a lot of stress on the machine, dragging that thing and hitting all the root balls and pulling it. So I'm gonna give that a break, and I need to get a little bit of sleep. I worked overnight last night, worked till 8 a.m. and it's now 11 a.m. So I'm gonna go back up to the house. There's a house up there. Get some sleep. All right, well, thanks for watching. Like I said, the result that I was hoping for was achieved. Worked the soil, got a lot of roots out, and get the lime down into the soil. So I'll let the rains hit it and get another soil test done, and it won't be too long before I'm throwing seed down here. So I'm pretty excited about that. As I said, we're gonna get the other plot done. Next time I get a chance to get back down here, I'll be working on the other plot, so I'll update you on that as well and keep you posted. All right, thank you.